In summer of 2013, Matt Dyer and a group of friends were in Canada hiking the foothills of Newfoundland and Labrador. The group had noticed a lone polar bear staring at them from about 150 yards away. One of the men in the group fired a flare to scare the large creature off. Matt took notice of the bear's massive size, as he was just used to seeing black bears in the wild. A little while later, the guys set up camp. At about 2:30 a.m., Matt was awoken by sounds of what appeared to be a large bear outside. Suddenly, the bear jumped onto his tent and began attacking him. Before he knew it, Matt's head was stuck in the polar bear's mouth, and the creature began running with his helpless body away from camp. The man's friends fired multiple flares, which caused the polar bear to drop him and run away. Matt was taken back to camp and eventually transported to a hospital in Montreal. The bear bit through his hand, cracked his jaw, and left multiple deep lacerations in his skin. In November 2023, a 17-year-old boy in India was walking home from school with one of his friends. Out of nowhere, a tiger that had been perched in a nearby tree sprinted towards him. The creature latched onto the boy's back and immediately began biting his neck and head. As the tiger was dragging the 17-year-old closer to the jungle, the big cat suddenly lost its grip on the boy's head. Ankit, the name of the young man being attacked, saw an opportunity and grabbed for the tiger's tongue as hard as he could. His quick thinking gave him enough time to escape the tiger and return to safety. The adrenaline soon wore off and Ankit became more aware of his serious injuries. The boy's head, face, hand, and neck all suffered major trauma. Although the 17-year-old had major blood loss, he was able to make a near full recovery in 4 months due to great doctors and successful surgeries. In summer of 2018, Arthur Medici was swimming in the waters off of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The 26-year-old wasn't too far from shore, which was Newcomb Hollow Beach. While about 30 yards out, Arthur was attacked by what's believed to be a great white shark. The damage was so extreme that the man did not survive his wounds. Once pronounced dead at the hospital, this marked the first lethal shark attack in Massachusetts in over 80 years. Eyewitnesses say extensive damage to Arthur's legs and extreme blood loss could have been the main cause of death. Great white sharks migrate to the waters of the upper East Coast when summer comes around. In August of 2023, a 40-year-old cow herder was doing some work on a ranch in Brazil. Out of nowhere, a large jaguar lunged toward the man and began attacking him. The creature wasted no time, causing deep bite marks on the herder's legs and arms. The man's friend was also present and tried using a knife to fend the animal off, which didn't work. When hope seemed to be lost, the jaguar happened to bite on a location on the man's pants which had his cell phone. Right as the creature bit into the device's lithium-ion battery, the phone exploded, which caused the jaguar to run away. The man was transported to the nearest hospital where he was treated for a broken arm, deep cuts, and a second-degree burn on his leg where the cell phone exploded. The jaguar is believed to have safely escaped somewhere back into the jungle. In September of 2023, an Amazon driver was delivering packages to homes in southeast Florida. As the woman went to place a box at someone's front door, she was bitten by a snake. The species ended up being an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which possesses potent hemotoxic venom. The Amazon driver recalled immediately feeling ill when she was bitten. The woman was transported to a hospital where she remained in serious condition, but was eventually discharged. The eastern diamondback rattlesnake is common all throughout Florida and can grow between 3 to 6 feet long. Anyone bitten by one of these snakes needs to get antivenom as soon as possible to avoid worse effects. Some people that weren't able to access medical attention soon enough can end up losing limbs. In June of 2022, a Russian man was hunting in the forests of Siberia. While in an elevated perch, the 62-year-old man spotted a large brown bear. The hunter aimed his rifle and shot at the creature down below. As the man descended his perch and started to climb down, the wounded bear leaped towards him. This act of desperation or revenge caused the bear to attack and eventually crush the hunter's skull, ultimately ending the man's life. The large animal then wandered another 50 yards before it died from the earlier gunshot. Officials who discovered the hunter's body immediately knew it was an animal attack. The discovery of the deceased brown bear further supported their theory. In the last 30 years, there have been over 250 bear attacks in Russia, with some of those ending in death. In early 2016, a 22-year-old man was walking on the north coast of New South Wales. Jaden, the name of the man, was traversing through an off-road area when he was bitten by a spider. The arachnid in question is sometimes referred to as a redback or Australian black widow. Jaden went to the hospital where he received treatment for an abscess that formed under his arm due to the bite. Although he was given antibiotics from the hospital and eventually discharged, Jaden eventually died 2 days after being released. Redback spiders possess neurotoxic venom that can cause skin lesions, muscle weakness, increased heart rate, and more. Although the doctors thought Jaden was healthy enough to leave, some people can potentially have delayed or differing effects to a creature's venom. This was the first death from this specific spider species since antivenom was introduced over 60 years ago. In 2017, a hunter was by himself in the deep woods of Oregon. Multiple creatures emerged from the trees, with the man initially mistaking them for larger coyotes. Once they started to get closer and begin to circle him, it was clear that these animals were wolves. One of them made an advancement and started running at the man. In what he claims was an act of self-defense, the hunter shot this particular wolf, causing the other ones to run off into the forest. Wolves are a protected species, so the man had to prove self-defense in order to avoid any legal consequences. Officials eventually deemed the man innocent, saying he was clearly trying to protect himself. Oregon has a population of only a couple hundred wolves, so situations like this are exceedingly rare. Another very similar situation happened with an elk hunter in Oregon in 2023. He was cleared of any wrongdoing as well. In October of 2023, a Florida wildlife trapper received a call about a feral pig roaming around a residential neighborhood. The man, whose name was James, headed over to the location, which was a town on the east coast of Florida. Upon arrival, he set a trap and within 24 hours had the wild boar caught, or at least he thought so. As James was loading the trapped animal onto his truck, a loud nearby noise startled the boar enough to make it escape from the cage. Once the creature was out, it made a dash towards some children in the neighborhood. The trapper acted quickly and tackled the wild pig to the ground. The boar became aggressive and slashed through the man's calf muscle with its tusks, causing immediate loss of large amounts of blood. The animal also bit chunks out of James's arm and concussed his head. He eventually lost consciousness due to his injuries. His son, who happened to be close by, made a tourniquet for his father's leg until EMTs could arrive. James reached the hospital and eventually made a full recovery, but still has the scars as a reminder. In June of 2022, a man and his family were walking in an area of Yellowstone Park. They recalled being close by the giant geysers at Old Faithful when the group noticed a large bison in the distance. The creature soon started sprinting towards the family, causing the father to jump in front of the kids and wife. The bison made contact with the father and immediately gored one of the man's arms with its horns. The word gored refers to a deep puncture wound, and in this case, the bison's horn pierced rather deep. The animal then backed off and the family was able to get somewhere safe. The husband was transported to the hospital where he received extensive treatment for his injury. Park rangers are unsure what spurred the attack, whether it was unprovoked or a case of being too close. Visitors are told to stay at least 25 yards away from bison at all times, hoping to avoid attacks.